Tomorrow, Senator Ted Cruz and about a dozen other Republicans, they are promising to vote against certification. They're demanding audits of the 2020 election. Texas Senator Ted Cruz joins us. Senator, thank you for being with us. Big day tomorrow. Big crowds apparently showed up to the point where the West Wing could hear the music and the chanting of the people that were there already. And this all kicks off in the morning tomorrow.
Well, Sean, that's right. And tomorrow is an important day. We have an obligation, I believe, to protect the integrity of the election and to protect the integrity of the democratic system. And so last week, as you know, what I did is work to bring together a group of 11 senators. I spent about 24 hours just working the phones, calling my colleagues, and ultimately 10 of my colleagues joined with me. I intend to object tomorrow. All 11 senators are standing with me on that, in that objection. And what the objection is for is to demand that we form an electoral commission that has the authority to investigate these claims of voter fraud, to consider the evidence, and to make determinations. These allegations are serious, and I got to say, there are far too many people in Washington who are saying, dismiss the claims out of hand, don't look at them, don't consider them, that Congress has to have a blindfold on. I don't think that's right. I think we have an obligation to the Constitution to defend the rule of law.
Senator, I'm looking at the support you're getting in the Senate, and I'm looking at the support in the House, maybe 150 members in the end. It's looking like, realistically, can this really happen? I don't like to give this audience false hope. I want to, would we have an audit? Is that real? Is that a possibility? Do you see, for example, do you see any, after tomorrow, is there a path for the president constitutionally?
So unfortunately, I think it is extraordinarily uphill. Tomorrow in the vote, I think it is likely that all or nearly all of the Democrats will vote against us, will vote to certify the election exactly as is. And based on their public statements, a whole bunch of Republicans are going to vote to do so as well. And if that happens, if a majority of both chambers votes that way, then the result is going to be certifying the outcome. I hope that doesn't happen. And one of the arguments I've been making to my colleagues is we have an obligation to the country. You look at polling right now that shows that 39% of Americans believe the election was rigged. That's heartbreaking. That is an enormous threat to the legitimacy of subsequent administrations. And I think even if you're a member of Congress who doesn't necessarily believe that, I think those numbers should dismay you mightily. And I think it's in everyone's interest for there to be a credible forum that is impartial, that has credibility, that can consider the evidence. And what I'm calling for is an emergency 10-day audit. Just audit the results, consider the claims, look at the evidence, and by doing it in 10 days, we can complete it before January 20th, before the presidential inauguration. And I think that would help provide much greater faith and confidence in the election than simply charging forward and saying whatever the results are, whatever the fraud was, we're going to certify anyway. I hope Congress doesn't do that. But right now, based on the public statements, it sure seems that's the direction the votes are going.
We'd get 2 hours in each the House and the Senate, correct, sir?
That's right. So under the statute that governs this, when a senator and a House member object together, and I intend to object to the state of Arizona, the states you will go through an alphabetical order. So Arizona is early in the alphabet, and it's the first of the contested states. I'm going to be objecting along with Arizona House members. That will trigger an automatic 2 hours of debate in each chamber. So we will retire to our separate chambers. Senators in the Senate chamber, the House members in the House chambers have 2 hours of debate. I'm going to do my best to lay out the case for why this is the right course of action. And I got to tell you, Sean, the way I arrived upon this is I was really struggling with the choices that all the members were being faced, because we had two lousy choices. If a member of Congress votes against an objection, what an awful lot of voters are going to hear from that is that you don't think voter fraud is real, that it's serious, you don't think that it occurred in this election, and that's obviously not right. And I got to say, most, at least of the Republicans, don't believe that. But on the other hand, I think all of us, understandably and rightly, don't want to be voting to set aside the results of an election just because the candidate we happen to support didn't prevail. And so I really looked for, all right, is there another option? And what I did is I scoured history and scoured precedents. And I think the most apt precedent is the presidential election of 1876. That was the election between Rutherford B. Hayes, the Republican, and Samuel Tilden, the Democrat. And in that election, there were, just like this election, serious allegations of voter fraud in 3 states, in Florida, in Louisiana, and South Carolina. And what did Congress do in 1877? Congress didn't throw up its hands and say, we have no solution here, we can't do anything, we've got to ignore these allegations of voter fraud. No, what they did is they appointed an electoral commission. It consisted of 5 House members, 5 senators, and 5 U.S. Supreme Court justices. That commission was charged with reviewing the evidence and making a determination about the disputed ballots. And what I'm urging is we should follow the 1877 precedent. And when I made that pitch to my colleagues, at the end of the day, 10 other senators agreed with me that that was the right and principled outcome. I hope tomorrow a lot more colleagues agree with me. We'll see.
Senator Cruz, thank you. We'll be watching.